Get your black hands off my mother! Gregory Morrison's voice sliced through silent night. Simone Taylor froze, spoon mid-air, soup dripping onto white linen. Sir, she couldn't eat alone. I was helping. Helping? Gregory stepped closer. $3,000 suit, $50,000 watch. You're a waitress. $11 an hour. You don't touch people like us. I apologize, sir. You're sitting at my family's table, feeding my mother, like you belong here. Simone lowered her eyes. Then Gregory saw it. His mother was smiling. Eleanor Morrison, 81, stage 4 Parkinson's, 3 years without a smile, 11 caregivers, $40,000 a month. Nothing worked. A black waitress in a stained apron did what all of them couldn't. Gregory stared at the woman he'd never noticed. 3 years she'd worked here. 3 years invisible. His mother hadn't smiled for anyone. Until tonight. Until her. 3 years invisible. Tonight, she made his mother smile. Who was she? Gregory's eyes swept over Simone like she was furniture, something to be assessed, appraised, dismissed. Henderson. The manager materialized instantly. Paul Henderson, 45, sweating through his starched collar despite the December chill seeping through the windows. Yes, Mr. Morrison? Why is this waitress sitting with my mother? Henderson's face drained of color. I don't know, sir. Taylor, what were you thinking? You know the rules. Section 3 only, no contact with VIP guests. Simone stood slowly, smoothed her apron, the same black apron she'd worn for 1,095 days, the same apron she'd tied every Christmas Eve standing in the kitchen doorway, watching Eleanor Morrison through the window. I was helping Mrs. Morrison eat, Mr. Henderson. Her caregiver stepped outside to take a phone call. Mrs. Morrison was struggling with her spoon. The tremors were bad tonight. I have training in... Training? Gregory cut her off. His voice was ice. What training does a waitress have? You carry plates, you refill water glasses, you smile and say, enjoy your meal. That's your training. I was a CNA for 18 years, sir. Certified nursing assistant. I specialized in Parkinson's care at Greenwood Hospice before I came here. Gregory paused. Something flickered across his face. Confusion, maybe. Or the beginning of suspicion. A CNA. 18 years of medical experience. And now you're serving tables in a steakhouse for $11 an hour? Yes, sir. Why? Why would anyone make that choice? Simone didn't answer. Her hand moved unconsciously to her chest. Beneath the white uniform shirt, hidden under the fabric, hung a thin chain. And on that chain, something she never took off. She caught herself, dropped her hand. But Gregory noticed. What's that? Under your shirt. I saw you touch it. It's nothing, sir. Personal. Everything in this restaurant is my business. I own this building. I own the chairs you're standing between. I own the air you're breathing right now. Nothing here is personal. Simone met his eyes. For just a moment. Something flickered there. Something that wasn't submission. Something that looked almost like defiance. Not this, sir. The two words landed like stones in still water. Gregory wasn't used to being told no. Not by anyone. Certainly not by someone in a stained apron who made $11 an hour. Someone who should have been invisible. He opened his mouth to respond. But Eleanor made a sound. A soft moan. Her trembling hand reached across the table, fingers grasping toward Simone like a child reaching for comfort. Mom. Gregory moved to her side, knelt beside the wheelchair. Are you okay? Did she hurt you? Did she do something wrong? Eleanor shook her head, slow, labored. Her eyes never left Simone's face. She knows. Knows what, Mom? What does she know? Eleanor's lips moved. No sound came out. The Parkinsons had stolen so much from her. Words came hard now. Sentences came harder. Some days, whole hours passed in silence because the effort of speaking was simply too much. But Simone understood. 3 years of watching from across the room. 3 years of learning Eleanor's rhythms, her patterns, her silent language. The way her left hand trembled more than her right. The way her eyes clouded when she was tired. The way she touched Derek's empty chair every time she sat down. Simone knew what Eleanor was trying to say. She just couldn't say it for her, not yet. "Mrs. Morrison needs rest," Simone said quietly. "And thickened liquids. The soup consistency is wrong, it's too thin. She could aspirate if she's not careful." Gregory stared at her. "How do you know what consistency she needs?" 18 years, sir. I told you. I've cared for dozens of Parkinson's patients. I know the progression. I know the risks." "You told me you were a CNA. You didn't tell me why you left, why you're here, why you're serving tables instead of saving lives." Simone was quiet for a long moment. "Some lives can't be saved, Mr. Morrison. Sometimes all you can do is watch and make sure someone's there at the end." The words hung in the air between them. Gregory didn't understand, not yet, but something in his chest tightened. Some instinct told him this woman knew more than she was saying. "Who are you, really?" he asked. "And don't tell me you're just a waitress. I'm not stupid." Simone looked at Eleanor. The old woman's eyes were wet with tears. Then she looked back at Gregory. "I'm someone who made a promise, Mr. Morrison, a long time ago, to someone who can't ask me to keep it anymore." She turned and walked toward the kitchen door. Gregory watched her go. 3 years she'd worked in his building, 3 years invisible. And suddenly, he couldn't look away. A promise. To someone who couldn't ask anymore. Gregory watched her disappear into the kitchen. Who was she protecting? Simone made it to the supply closet before the tears came. She closed the door behind her, pressed her back against the shelves of napkins and tablecloths, slid down until she was sitting on the cold floor. Her hand found the ring under her shirt, pulled it out, held it tight. Derek. 4 years ago, Christmas Eve, the last night she'd seen him alive. Greenwood Hospice, room 114, the smell of antiseptic and dying flowers, the beep of monitors counting down the minutes he had left. She'd brought a 2-foot Christmas tree from the dollar store. Plastic. Cheap. The kind that came pre-lit with lights that flickered too fast. She'd wrapped fairy lights around his bed rail, hung a single red ornament from his IV pole. It wasn't much, but Derek had smiled when he saw it. "You brought Christmas to me." His voice was thin. The Parkinsons had accelerated faster than anyone expected. Early onset. Aggressive. Most people got decades with the disease. Derek got 6 years. By the end, he could barely hold a cup, barely sign his name, barely breathe. But he could still smile. And that Christmas Eve, he smiled at Simone like she'd given him the world. "Next Christmas," he'd said, "we'll be at the restaurant. At our table. Morrison's Steakhouse. You, me, and Mom." "And Gregory?" Derek's smile had faded, just slightly. "Gregory will come if he wants to. He usually doesn't." They didn't talk about Gregory often. The older brother who was always too busy, too important, too far away. The brother who sent checks instead of visits, who hired caregivers instead of coming home. "Sing for me," Derek had whispered. "Silent night, like you always do." Simone had sung. Her voice cracked on the second verse. Tears ran down her cheeks, but she kept going. Because Derek asked. Because it was Christmas. Because she knew, somehow, that this was the last time. The door opened. Eleanor walked in. She stopped when she saw Simone. Saw her holding Derek's hand. Saw the ring on her finger that Derek had given her 18 months earlier. A secret engagement. A secret love. "Mom," Derek had said, "this is Simone, the woman I told you about." Eleanor didn't speak. She walked to the other side of the bed, took Derek's other hand, and when Simone reached the final verse, Eleanor sang with her. "Sleep in heavenly peace." 3 days later, Derek was gone. December 21st, 3:47 a.m. Simone held one hand. Eleanor held the other. Gregory didn't answer his phone. 17 calls from Eleanor. 17 times the phone rang in a hotel suite in Singapore. 17 times Gregory looked at the screen and thought, "I'll call her back after the meeting." He never called back. Not until it was too late. By the time he listened to his mother's voicemail, Derek had been dead for 6 hours. "He's gone, Gregory. Your brother is gone. You don't have to come now. It wouldn't matter anyway." Now, 4 years later, Simone sat in a supply closet in Morrison's steakhouse, still wearing the ring, still keeping the promise, still invisible to the man who owned everything and noticed nothing. She heard footsteps outside the door. Henderson's voice. "Taylor? Taylor, Mr. Morrison wants to talk to you again. He's asking questions, lots of questions." Simone wiped her eyes, stood up, straightened her apron. She looked at the ring one more time, tucked it back under her shirt. "Coming?" she said. She opened the door, walked back toward the Morrison room, toward the man who had no idea who she was, who had no idea what his brother had meant to her, who had no idea that the waitress he'd dismissed was the woman Derek had wanted to marry. Gregory was waiting, standing by the Christmas tree. His face was different now. The anger was still there, but something else, too. Confusion, curiosity. "My mother wants you to sit with her." Simone stopped. "Sir?" "She won't eat unless you're there. She keeps reaching for you. I don't understand it, but she wants you." "I'm just a waitress, sir." "No." Gregory's eyes narrowed. "You're not. I don't know what you are yet, but you're not just a waitress." He stepped aside, gestured toward the table. "Sit. Feed her. And then you're going to tell me everything, starting with how you know my brother's name." Simone's blood went cold. "How did you—" "She said his name. While you were gone, she said Derek, and she pointed at you." Gregory's voice was hard. "My brother died 4 years ago. So tell me, Miss Taylor, how does a waitress know a dead man's name?" She said Derek's name, pointed at Simone. 4 years dead. How did a waitress know him? The main course arrived at 7:48 p.m. Gregory had insisted on ordering for everyone. Filet mignon, the Morrison Christmas tradition, the same meal the family had eaten every Christmas Eve since 1989. Simone watched the plate land in front of Eleanor. Thick cut, medium rare, beautiful presentation, completely wrong. "Sir," she said carefully, "Mrs. Morrison needs a modified diet. The filet is too solid. She could choke." Gregory didn't look up from his phone. "My mother loves filet. She's been eating it for 35 years. That was before the Parkinson's progressed to stage 4. Her swallowing reflex is compromised. She needs soft foods, pureed if possible. This texture could kill her." "I didn't ask for a medical lecture. I asked for dinner." Simone pressed her lips together, said nothing more. Candace, the caregiver, had returned from her phone call. She looked nervous, uncertain. She'd only been working for the Morrisons for 3 months. She didn't know Eleanor's patterns yet, didn't understand the warning signs that Simone had memorized years ago. "Should I cut it smaller?" Candace asked. "Into very small pieces," Simone said. "Pea-sized. And tilt her wheelchair back slightly, 15 degrees. It opens the airway." Candace nodded, started cutting. Her technique was wrong, the pieces were still too large, but Simone couldn't say anything else. Gregory was already glaring at her. The first few bites went fine. Eleanor chewed slowly, swallowed with effort. Her hand trembled as Candace brought the fork to her mouth. Then it happened. 7:52 p.m. A piece of filet, too large, not chewed enough. Eleanor's eyes went wide. Her mouth opened. No sound came out. Silent aspiration. The most dangerous kind. No coughing, no gagging. Just silence as the airway closed. Eleanor's lips turned gray, then blue. Her hand clawed at her throat. Candace screamed. "She's choking! Someone help! She's choking!" Gregory jumped up, knocked his chair over. "Mom! Mom, can you hear me?" He didn't know what to do. Stood there frozen. Phone in hand, completely useless. Simone was already moving. "Everyone back! Now! Give me room!" She reached Eleanor in 3 steps, assessed the situation in 2 seconds. Blue lips, silent, no air moving. 60 seconds until brain damage, 90 until death. "This isn't standard Heimlich," Simone said, positioning herself behind the wheelchair. "She has osteoporosis. Parkinson's has weakened her bones. I thrust too hard, I break her ribs, pierce a lung, kill her." She tilted the wheelchair back, 15 degrees, placed her hands on Eleanor's sternum. Not a fist. Flat palms, gentle pressure. Modified abdominal compression, pulse, not thrust. Watch and learn. 1, 2, 3. Her hands moved with 18 years of precision. Controlled, careful, each compression a calculated risk. "Mrs. Morrison, Eleanor, I need you to try to cough. Push it out. You can do this. You're strong. Push." 4, 5. Eleanor's face was purple now, 45 seconds gone. "Come on. Come on. Don't give up. Not tonight. Not on Christmas." 6, 7. A sound, wet, desperate, like a drain unclogging. Eleanor coughed. The chunk of filet flew from her mouth, landed on the white tablecloth, red meat on white linen, like blood on snow. Color flooded back into Eleanor's face. 8 seconds, pink replacing purple, life replacing death. Simone grabbed a napkin, wiped Eleanor's mouth, checked her pulse. 88 beats per minute. Shallow breathing, but clear. "She's okay. She's breathing. She's okay." The Morrison room was silent. The Christmas music had stopped. Someone had turned it off during the chaos. Gregory still hadn't moved. His phone was on the floor. Screen cracked. He must have dropped it. "You!" His voice was hoarse, shaking. "You just saved her life." Simone didn't look up. She was already reaching for a glass, pulling a small packet from her apron pocket. Thickener. The same thickener she'd carried every shift for 3 years, just in case. "She needs honey-thick liquids now, not water. Water's too thin. She'll aspirate again." She mixed the thickener into the water, brought it to Eleanor's lips. The old woman drank, slowly, carefully, 3-second pauses between each sip. "The filet was wrong," Simone said quietly. "I told you it was wrong. She can't have solid cuts anymore. You would have known that if you ever asked. If you ever came to her doctor's appointments, if you ever sat with her during meals instead of sending strangers." Gregory's face crumpled. The billionaire mask fell away. Underneath was just a man, a scared man who had almost watched his mother die because he didn't know how to feed her. "I didn't know," he whispered. "I didn't know it was this bad." "No, you didn't." Simone finally looked at him. "You pay $40,000 a month for people to know for you, but money doesn't watch. Money doesn't learn her rhythms. Money doesn't carry thickener in its pocket just in case." She stood. Her apron was stained now. Soup from earlier, something else from the crisis. Your brother knew, she said. Derek knew everything about her care. He spent hours with her doctors, learned every medication, every risk, every protocol. Gregory flinched at his brother's name. How do you know what Derek knew? Simone reached under her shirt, pulled out the chain, let the ring catch the light of the Christmas tree. Because he taught me. Every night, in the hospice. While you were closing deals in Singapore, he was teaching me how to keep your mother alive. Gregory stared at the ring. That's a man's ring. It was your brother's. He gave it to me 18 months before he died. She paused. We were engaged, Mr. Morrison. Derek was going to marry me. Christmas Day, 4 years ago. The silence was absolute. He didn't make it to Christmas. Engaged to his brother. 4 years of secrets. Gregory stared at the ring and saw everything he'd missed. Eleanor's voice came out stronger than it had in months. I knew. Gregory turned. What did you say? I knew who she was from the first day. Eleanor's hand found Simone's, held tight. 3 years ago, January. She walked into this restaurant wearing that black apron. Her hands were shaking when she tied it. Simone's eyes widened. Mrs. Morrison. I recognized her voice before I recognized her face. Eleanor's gaze was clear, focused. The near-death experience had sharpened something inside her. She hummed while she worked. Silent Night. The same song she sang for Derek in the hospice. Gregory looked between them. You knew? For 3 years you knew she was here? Why didn't you say anything? Because I needed to be sure. Eleanor squeezed Simone's hand. I needed to know why she came. Whether it was for the money, for revenge, for the lawsuit Victoria kept warning me about. Gregory's head snapped toward Simone. Lawsuit? What lawsuit? I dropped it. Simone's voice was barely audible. 6 months ago. I dropped the lawsuit. What lawsuit? Eleanor answered for her. She sued the estate for $2 million, the money Derek left her in his will. Derek left her money? Derek had a will? Victoria blocked it, called it fraud, said Simone had manipulated Derek during his illness, exercised undue influence over a dying man. Eleanor's voice hardened. Victoria lied. Gregory ran a hand through his hair. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. My brother had a secret fiancé. He left her money. She sued us, and now she's working as a waitress in our restaurant? She dropped the lawsuit, Eleanor repeated. 6 months ago. No settlement, no payment. She just let it go. Why? Simone finally spoke. Because that's not why I came. The lawsuit was grief, anger. Victoria had me removed from Derek's funeral, said I was a predator, said I had no claim to him. And the $2 million? I don't want his money. I never wanted his money. Simone's eyes were wet. I wanted his family to know I existed, that we were real, that 6 years of loving him wasn't something I imagined. Eleanor looked at her son. 3 years, Gregory. She's been here 3 years, serving tables, making $11 an hour, watching me from across the room, never approaching, never asking for anything. Then why stay? Why put yourself through that? Simone pulled out a piece of paper from her apron pocket, worn, soft, folded 1,000 times. Because of this. Because Derek asked me to. She didn't unfold it. Not yet. But she held it like it was holy. He wrote me a letter, the night before he died. Christmas Eve. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold the pen. But he wrote it anyway. What does it say? It says, to find you. Simone looked at Eleanor. To stay close to you, to watch over you, any way I could. Eleanor smiled. That same smile that had started everything. Any way she could? Eleanor repeated. So she became a waitress. She became in a restaurant she knew I visited every Christmas, just to see my face, just to know I was still alive. Gregory sat down heavily. 3 years. You've been keeping a promise to my dead brother for 3 years, and I didn't even know your name. Any way she could. Derek's last wish. Simone had spent 3 years in an apron keeping it. They left Morrison's steakhouse at 10:15. Gregory drove. No chauffeur, no town car, just his Range Rover and the weight of everything he'd learned. Simone sat in the back seat, still wearing her apron. She hadn't had time to change, hadn't even clocked out. Henderson would probably mark her as having abandoned her shift. 3 years of perfect attendance ended on Christmas Eve. She didn't care. The drive to Greenwich took 45 minutes. Snow fell gently on the windshield. Wipers swept back and forth in a hypnotic rhythm. Christmas lights twinkled in every window they passed. Normal families having normal holidays, unaware of the drama unfolding in the black Range Rover gliding past. Eleanor slept in the front passenger seat. The choking had exhausted her, but her hand still reached back, fingers wrapped around Simone's wrist. Even in sleep, she didn't want to let go. Gregory watched them in the rearview mirror. She's never done that before, he said quietly. Reached for someone like that. Not even me. Simone didn't respond. The caregivers, they're professionals. They do their jobs, but she never reaches for them. She tolerates them. There's a difference. There is. But she reaches for you. She knows who I am, Mr. Morrison. She's known for 3 years. I'm not a stranger to her. I'm not someone you hired. I'm someone who showed up. Gregory was quiet for a long moment. I should have shown up. Yes, you should have. I thought if I paid enough, if I hired the best people, I thought that was the same thing. It's not. I know that now. The Morrison estate appeared through the trees. White columns, gray stone, a 10-foot Christmas tree blazing in the front window. The kind of house that appeared in architectural magazines. The kind of house that looked warm from the outside but could feel like a museum inside. Simone had never been here before. Derek had described it to her. The long driveway, the fountain that froze over in winter, the wraparound porch where he used to sit with his mother on summer evenings. She'd imagined it 1,000 times, but imagination was different from reality. A night nurse was waiting at the door. Gregory had called ahead. Another stranger, another professional. I can take her in, the nurse said, reaching for Eleanor's wheelchair. No, Gregory's voice was firm. Simone will do it. The nurse blinked, looked at Simone's stained apron, her messy hair, her red-rimmed eyes. Sir, I'm a certified... I know what you are. Simone will do it. He looked at her. Something had shifted in his expression. The contempt was gone. In its place was something harder to name. Respect, maybe. Or the beginning of it. Will you? Simone nodded, took the handles of Eleanor's wheelchair, pushed her through the front door. The foyer smelled like pine and old money. A crystal chandelier hung overhead. Oil paintings lined the walls. Morrisons going back generations. Men in suits, women in pearls. The accumulated weight of legacy. And there, on the mantel above the fireplace, in a simple silver frame, was Derek. Simone stopped. The photo was from 5 years ago, before the diagnosis, before the tremors started. He was laughing at something off camera. His eyes crinkled at the corners the way they always did when he was truly happy, the way they'd crinkled when he looked at her. Her hand went to the ring under her shirt. Instinctive. Always. That was his favorite picture, Eleanor said softly. She was awake now. Had been for a few minutes, maybe. Taken at the restaurant. Christmas Eve. The year before he got sick. He looks happy. He was. That was the year he told me about you. Gregory came up behind them. Saw what they were looking at. His jaw tightened. I should have been there when that photo was taken. I was in Tokyo. Couldn't get away. You could have gotten away, Eleanor said. You chose not to. Mom, I'm not saying it to hurt you, Gregory. I'm saying it because it's true, and because tonight you need to hear true things. She reached up, touched Simone's hand on her shoulder. Give her Derek's room. Gregory froze. What? His room. Second floor. Third door on the right. She'll stay there tonight. Mom, I don't think that's... 4 years that room has been empty. 4 years his things have been gathering dust. Victoria wanted me to pack it all up, turn it into a guest suite, something useful. Eleanor's voice hardened. I refused, because I knew. Somehow I knew Simone would come, and she would need somewhere to sleep. Gregory looked at Simone, then at his mother, then at the photo of his brother. This is insane. Maybe, but it's also right. Eleanor's eyes met his. Derek loved her, Gregory. He wanted to marry her. He wanted her to be part of this family. The least we can do is give her his room for one night. Gregory was silent for a long moment. Then he nodded. Second floor. Third door on the right. There should be clean sheets in the hall closet. Simone's throat tightened. I can't accept. You can. You saved her life tonight. That's not something I can repay. But I can give you a bed. He paused. And tomorrow we'll figure out the rest. Simone pushed Eleanor's wheelchair to the bottom of the stairs. The night nurse appeared, ready to take over for the journey to the first-floor bedroom that had been converted for Eleanor's needs. I'll see you in the morning, Eleanor said, squeezing Simone's hand. We have a lot to talk about. We do. And Simone? Yes? Eleanor smiled. That same smile. The one that had started everything. Thank you. For keeping your promise. For staying. For showing up when no one else would. Simone couldn't speak. Just nodded. Watched as the nurse wheeled Eleanor away. Then she climbed the stairs. Second floor. Third door on the right. Derek's room. She turned the brass handle, pushed the door open, stepped inside. And there he was. Everywhere. Navy blue walls, bookshelves lined with paperbacks. Mysteries, mostly, the kind he used to read to her in the hospice. A Yale pennant over the desk, trophies from high school tennis, photos everywhere. Derek at graduation. Derek with Eleanor. Derek as a child, holding Gregory's hand. And there, on the nightstand, a photo she'd never seen before. Her. Simone at a coffee shop, laughing, unaware the photo was being taken. Derek must have captured it without her knowing. Must have printed it, framed it, kept it here in his childhood room where no one would think to look. She picked it up, held it to her chest. I found her, she whispered to the empty room. To Derek. To the ghost of him that lingered in every corner. I kept my promise. I'm inside now. I'm home. The tears came. 3 years of them. 3 years of watching from across a restaurant. 3 years of silence and patience and waiting and hoping. She changed out of her apron, found one of Derek's old sweaters in the closet. Soft blue cashmere. It still smelled faintly of him, or maybe that was her imagination. Maybe after 4 years, the smell was gone. But she could pretend. She climbed into his bed, pulled the covers up. And for the first time since he died, she slept without nightmares. She dreamed of Christmas morning instead, but Christmas morning was 3 days away, and Victoria Morrison was already on her way home. She slept in Derek's bed, wore his sweater, finally home. But Victoria was coming. And Victoria never forgave. December 27th, 7:15 p.m., 3 days after Christmas. Victoria Morrison's heels struck the marble foyer like hammer blows, each step a declaration of war. What the hell is she doing here? Simone looked up from Eleanor's dinner tray. Oatmeal tonight, honey-thickened applesauce, soft foods, safe foods, 3 days without incident. Victoria. Gregory appeared in the doorway. He looked tired, dark circles under his eyes. Too many conversations with Eleanor. Too many revelations. I can explain. Explain? Victoria's voice could shatter crystal. Explain why the woman who sued our family for $2 million is feeding our mother. Explain why she's wearing Derek's clothes. Explain why she's sitting at our table like she has a right to exist in this house. Victoria. I got a call from Henderson. He said you took the Christmas Eve waitress home. I thought it was a joke. Victoria's eyes locked on Simone. Cold, calculating. I see it's not. Eleanor tried to speak. Her voice came out thin, weak. Victoria, you need to listen. No, Mom. You need to rest. Victoria didn't even look at her. This is between me and Gregory. And her. She pulled out her phone, started reading from the screen. Simone Taylor, former CNA at Greenwood Hospice, filed a $2 million lawsuit against the Morrison estate 14 months ago. Claimed Derek Morrison left her money in a secret will. Case was dismissed due to lack of evidence and suspected undue influence over a terminally ill patient. She looked up, smiled, the smile of a predator who'd cornered her prey. She's a professional, Gregory, a con artist. She targets dying men, makes herself indispensable, and then goes after their estates. I dropped the lawsuit, Simone said. Her voice was calm. She'd been expecting this, dreading it, but expecting it. 6 months ago, voluntarily. After your case fell apart? After our lawyers proved you had no legitimate claim. After I realized the money didn't matter, it was never about the money. Then what was it about? Victoria stepped closer. Revenge? Attention? You couldn't have Derek, so you decided to destroy his family instead? I loved him. You manipulated him. He was sick, vulnerable, and you took advantage. Victoria. Gregory's voice was sharp. That's enough. It's not enough. Not even close. Victoria turned on him. Do you know what else she did? She applied to 3 different restaurants owned by Morrison Capital. 3. This was the only one that hired her. The only one where Mom eats every Christmas Eve. Gregory's face changed. Is that true? Simone hesitated. I needed to be close to her. Derek asked me. Derek is dead. Victoria's voice cracked like a whip. Dead men don't ask for anything. Dead men leave estates. And you wanted yours. That's not 3 years, Gregory. 3 years she's been stalking our family, watching, waiting. And the moment Mom choked, the moment you were vulnerable, she made her move. She saved Mom's life. Did she? Or did she create a situation where she could look like a hero? Victoria's eyes narrowed. She's a trained CNA. She knows Parkinson's. She knows choking protocols. What if she knew exactly when to step in? What if she was waiting for exactly this moment? That's insane. Is it? She sued us for $2 million. She's been working in our restaurant for 3 years. She seduced our dying brother, and now she's sleeping in his bed. Victoria turned to Gregory. How much more evidence do you need? Gregory looked at Simone, then at Victoria, then at Eleanor, who was crying silently in her wheelchair. I need to think, he said finally. I need time to figure out what's real. What's real is that she needs to leave. Now. before she does any more damage. Gregory was quiet for a long moment. Then he looked at Simone. I think you should go. Just for now. Just until I can sort through all of this. Simone's heart cracked. But she didn't argue. She'd known this was coming. Derek had warned her. In the letter. Victoria will try to destroy everything. I understand. She stood, walked to the door, stopped. I dropped the lawsuit because I didn't want Derek's money. I wanted his family to know I existed. That's all I ever wanted. She looked at Eleanor. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Eleanor reached for her, crying, helpless. But Simone was already gone. Outside, the snow was falling again. Christmas lights still glowed on the porch. The world looked peaceful, beautiful. Simone stood in the driveway. No coat, no phone, no way home. She'd lost everything. Again. Victoria watched from the window, smiling. The door closed. The snow kept falling. Victoria smiled. Simone had lost everything. Again. Eleanor Morrison stopped eating at sunrise on December 28th. Not gradually, not accidentally. A decision. When Candace brought breakfast, Eleanor turned her head. When the night nurse offered water, Eleanor pressed her lips shut. When Gregory came to apologize, to explain, to beg her to understand, Eleanor closed her eyes and pretended to sleep. She wasn't sleeping. She was waiting. Waiting for her son to understand what he'd done. 24 hours passed, then 48. By the morning of December 29th, Eleanor's vitals were dropping, blood pressure low, pulse weak, the first signs of dehydration setting in. The doctor arrived at 11 a.m., Northwestern Memorial's head of geriatric care, $500 an hour, the best money could buy. She's not presenting any physical obstruction, he said, reviewing Eleanor's chart. Her swallowing reflex is intact. Cognitive function is stable. This isn't the Parkinson's. Then what is it? Gregory's voice was desperate, ragged. He hadn't slept in 2 days. It's volitional, intentional. She's choosing not to eat. That's suicide. It's protest. The doctor looked at him steadily. I've seen this before in elderly patients who feel they've lost control of their lives. They stop eating as a way of asserting agency, the only power left to them. Agency over what? That's a question you'll have to ask her yourself, Mr. Morrison. I can treat her body. I can't treat her heart. The doctor left. Gregory sat by Eleanor's bed for hours, watching her breathe, watching her fade. Mom, please, you have to eat something. Anything. A sip of water, a bite of toast. Please. Silence. I know you're angry about Simone. I know you think I made the wrong choice. But Victoria showed me the records, the lawsuit, the applications to our restaurants. She was targeting us. Eleanor's eyes opened. Finally. But they weren't soft. They were hard. Angry. She was keeping a promise. Mom. A promise to your brother. The brother you never visited. The brother whose calls you ignored. The brother who died alone because you were too busy closing deals. That's not fair. Fair? Eleanor's laugh was bitter, hollow. You want to talk about fair? Victoria has been lying to you for 4 years. She told me Simone was a predator. She told me the lawsuit was about greed. She never told you that Simone dropped it. 6 months ago. No payment, no settlement. Just walked away. Gregory went still. What? Simone withdrew the lawsuit voluntarily because she realized the money was never what she wanted. She wanted us to acknowledge her, to accept her, to treat her like the family Derek wanted her to be. Victoria said, "Victoria lies." Eleanor's voice cracked. Victoria blocked Derek's will because she didn't want anyone outside the family touching Morrison money. She called Simone a manipulator because it was easier than admitting Derek loved someone she didn't approve of. Mom, I was weak. I believed Victoria because I was tired, because fighting took energy I didn't have. But Simone never gave up. She became a waitress, Gregory. $11 an hour, stained apron, standing on her feet for 8 hours a day, just to see my face once a year. Eleanor grabbed his hand. Her grip was weak but desperate. She goes to the cemetery every Christmas Eve, after her shift. She walks to Greenwood and sits with Derek until morning, in the cold, in the snow, telling him about her year, about me, about how she's still trying to keep her promise. Gregory felt something crack inside his chest. How do you know that? Because I asked Henderson, years ago. I wanted to know where she went after work, what she did when she wasn't watching me from across the restaurant. Eleanor's eyes were wet. 3 years, 3 Christmases. She never missed a visit. Not once. Gregory stood. His legs felt unsteady. Where is she now? I don't know. You threw her out without a coat. Without money? Without anywhere to go? I didn't throw her out. I asked her to leave. Same thing. To someone who has nothing, it's the same thing. Gregory moved toward the door. Find her. Eleanor's voice stopped him. Find her before it's too late. Before I run out of time. Mom, don't talk like that. I'm 81 years old. Stage 4 Parkinson's. I almost died 3 days ago eating a piece of steak. I don't have the luxury of pretending I have forever. She looked at him. Her son. The boy she'd raised. The man she barely knew. Find her. Bring her back. And don't come home without her. What about Victoria? Victoria can go to hell. Eleanor turned her face to the wall. I'm done protecting her feelings. I'm done being afraid of her. Derek loved Simone. That's enough for me. It should be enough for you. Gregory stood in the doorway, watching his mother's frail body, her trembling hands, the monitors beeping out the rhythm of a life running low. There's a letter, Eleanor said quietly. Derek wrote it the night before he died. Simone carries it everywhere. She's never shown it to anyone. What does it say? I don't know. But I know Derek. And I know he wouldn't have asked her to do all this without a reason. Eleanor closed her eyes. Find her. Read the letter. And then decide what kind of man you want to be. Gregory grabbed his coat, his keys, ran for the door. Behind him, Victoria's voice echoed from somewhere in the house, demanding to know where he was going, what he was doing, why he was ruining everything. He didn't stop. He didn't look back. If Simone was still in this city, there was only one place she would be. The same place she went every Christmas, the cemetery. Eleanor stopped eating. 48 hours. She wouldn't start again until Simone came back. Gregory had one chance to make it right. Greenwood Cemetery, December 30th, 6:15 a.m. The snow had stopped falling sometime before dawn. Now it lay thick and white over everything. Headstones like soft sculptures, trees like frozen ghosts. The world holding its breath. Gregory found her in Section D, Row 14. She was sitting on a stone bench, facing Derek's grave. No coat. He noticed that first. Just the same clothes she'd been wearing when she left. Derek's blue sweater, jeans, snow gathering on her shoulders like a second skin. She didn't turn when she heard his footsteps. I knew you'd come eventually. Gregory stopped a few feet away. How? Because your mother is stubborn, and because underneath everything you're not as cruel as you want to be. He moved closer, looked at the headstone. Simple gray granite. Derek Morrison, 1971, 20-20. Beloved son, beloved brother, missed always. The words felt inadequate. Everything felt inadequate. She stopped eating, Gregory said. Mom, 2 days now. The doctor says it's a protest. It is. She won't start again until you come back. Simone was quiet for a moment. Her breath made small clouds in the frozen air. I'm not coming back to be thrown out again. I can't survive that. Not a third time. There won't be a third time. You said that before, when you gave me Derek's room, when you started to trust me. I know. And then Victoria came and you believed her, because believing her was easier than believing me, because she's your sister, because I'm nobody. The words hurt, because they were true. Gregory sat down on the bench. The stone was freezing through his coat, but he didn't care. My mother says there's a letter, that Derek wrote you something the night before he died. Simone's hand went to her pocket. Protective, instinctive. She says she's never read it, that you've never shown it to anyone. He paused. Will you show me? Simone didn't move for a long moment. Then, slowly, she pulled out a piece of paper, worn soft from years of handling, folded and unfolded 1,000 times. He could barely hold the pen, she said quietly. The tremors were so bad, but he wrote for 20 minutes, crossed things out, started over. It took everything he had left. She held the letter out. Gregory took it, unfolded it with trembling hands. The handwriting was shaky, almost illegible in places, but the words were clear. Simone, when you read this, I'll be gone. I'm sorry. For hiding you, for making you wait, for being too much of a coward to tell my family the truth. I know what's going to happen next. Victoria will come for you. She'll try to destroy everything, call you a predator, a gold digger. All the names she used for every woman I ever loved who wasn't good enough for Morrison money. Gregory won't help. He's too far away, too busy. He'll believe whatever Victoria says because believing her is easier than believing a stranger. Mom knows about you. She loves you. But she's too weak to fight Victoria alone. I'm not asking you to forgive them. I'm asking you one thing. Find my mother. Stay close to her. Any way you can. Not for money, not for inheritance, not for revenge. For me. Because after I'm gone, she'll need someone who truly loves her. Someone who won't give up. Someone who'll be there on Christmas Eve when everyone else has somewhere better to be. You're the only one I trust. Give her one more Christmas, then another. As many as she has left. That's all I ask. I love you. I've always loved you. I'm sorry I didn't tell the world when I had the chance. Merry Christmas, my love. Derek Gregory read the letter twice, 3 times, the words blurring as his eyes filled with tears. Any way you can, he whispered. He wrote that. He knew. Simone's voice was steady. He knew Victoria would block the will. He knew you wouldn't believe me, so he asked me to find another way. And you became a waitress. It was the only door Victoria couldn't close. I couldn't come to the house, couldn't call, couldn't write letters, but I could apply for a job at a restaurant. I could tie on an apron and serve tables. I could stand across the room and watch your mother eat. For 3 years, for as long as it took. Simone took the letter back, folded it carefully, returned it to its place over her heart. I didn't plan any of this. The choking, you seeing me. I was just going to watch her, like always. But she was struggling, and I couldn't just stand there. Gregory was quiet. Then he stood, walked to Derek's grave, knelt in the snow. I'm sorry, he said to the stone. I should have been there, should have answered Mom's calls, Should have asked you about your life instead of assuming I knew everything." His voice broke. "I should have known about her." Simone watched him cry. The billionaire. The man who owned buildings and made deals and thought money could fix everything. Kneeling in the snow, talking to a brother he'd failed. When he finally stood, his eyes were red. Eyes were raw. "Will you come back? Please. Not for me. For her. For him." Simone looked at Derek's grave, then at Gregory. "I never really left. I was just waiting for you to ask." "Any way you can." Derek's last words. Simone had lived them for 3 years. Now Gregory finally understood. 1 year later, Christmas Eve, Morrison's Steakhouse. The Morrison room looked the same. 12-foot tree, crystal chandeliers. Silent Night playing softly through the speakers. But the table was different. Eleanor sat at the head, smiling. Really smiling. The kind of smile that comes from being surrounded by people who show up. Gregory sat to her right. He'd learned how to cut her food properly, knew the right consistency, the right angle, the right pace. He came to dinner every Sunday now, never missed. Simone sat to Eleanor's left, not wearing an apron, not wearing a waitress uniform, wearing a deep red dress, the color of Christmas, the color of new beginnings. And Derek's chair? Still there, still at the table, but this time it held a single framed photograph. Derek laughing, eyes crinkled, happy. "To Derek," Eleanor said, raising her glass of thickened cider. "Who brought us together? Who taught us what family really means?" "To Derek," they echoed. Simone touched the ring under her dress, the same ring she'd worn for 6 years. She'd never take it off, but she didn't hide it anymore. "I kept my promise," she thought. "I found her. I stayed. Any way I could." Across the room, Henderson watched from the doorway. The waitresses whispered among themselves. "Isn't that Taylor? From Section 3? Used to be. She's family now." Family. The word had taken 3 years to earn. 3 years of aprons and invisible shifts and watching from across the room. But Simone was finally where she belonged. Not in the kitchen, not carrying plates, not invisible. At the table, holding Eleanor's hand. Part of the family Derek always wanted her to be. Outside, the snow fell soft and white. Inside, the Christmas tree glowed warm and bright. And somewhere, somehow, Derek Morrison smiled. His last wish had finally come true. If this story reminded you of someone you've overlooked, someone waiting to be seen, maybe today is the day to look a little closer. A subscribe and a like help us keep telling stories about the people we almost miss. Thank you for listening.